Hello YouTube stackers, this is ST with Silver Stacking 101. In this video, we are going to discuss the historical purchasing power of silver in goods and services when converted to fiat dollars. The reason this is important is it will allow us to understand what silver should be trading at today and to recognize deviations, both positive and negative, from that measurement. Now, a couple things. When I say historical, I mean 1960 through today. Why that time period? Prior to that, we didn't have the manufacturing and transportation capabilities we have now. So I'm trying to make it apples to apples. Another issue on apples to apples. I did not use housing. Someone is already thinking of the argument in 1955, 500 ounces of silver would buy the average home. Can we compare the average home today to the average home in 1955? Both in terms of square footage and amenities. Homes in 1955, built before 1955, they were lucky to have a bathroom typically and no HVAC. Insulation was piss poor at best. So that's not a fair comparison. On the comparison issue, let's talk about, we can make these numbers say anything we want. Let's take a loaf of bread, for example. If we measure a loaf of bread, we could go to Bilo or Aldi and buy generic bread, and it will show a huge increase in purchasing power. The problem is, in 1960, they didn't have stores like Walmart and Aldi that sold generics. So it's very important that we take not only the product, but the brand of product, and carry it through the entire experience the consumer would have experienced in that time period to compare apples to apples. So we go buy a brand of bread that was available in 1960 at a size that was available in 1960 from a regular supermarket. On the other end, we can flex these to show that we have lost purchasing power of silver. They didn't have Whole Foods and they didn't sell organic bread. We could go pick us up a $6 loaf of bread and show that we have lost purchasing power. So to be honest with ourselves, and to be quite honest with you, I did not have a vested interest whichever way this came out when I did the study. I wanted the truth. Here's what I found. I measured different items. I measured food, transportation, both in terms of the actual vehicle. I did have to discount because cars are infinitely more complex than they used to be. A car is like a roving computer now. I had measured fuel. I even measured postage, along with many other items. Now, what we commonly refer to as inflation is really devaluation of the dollar. Because here's what I found. Going forward, silver, from 1960, silver followed the inflation of the US dollar. The purchasing power of silver at any point, when converted back into fiat currency, remained somewhat constant, with the exception of brief deviations, positive and negative. But after those deviations ended, without exception, the price returned back to the trend line of inflation. It always has done this. So now it brings us to the question, what should silver be if this holds true today? Silver should be, are you ready? Because people's been asking, between $15.50 an ounce to $16.35 an ounce. There's room for subjectivity even in that measurement, despite how many objective measurements brought us to this point. Here's why it's important. If we buy silver today for investment purposes, this is not to store our value, this is not prepping silver, but we are buying it in anticipation of selling it and making money, well, we run a risk. And the risk is the silver market moves sideways in its normal state. Slightly sideways. It follows the inflation of the US dollar, but it doesn't kick us any earnings off. So even if we buy at the money with silver for investment, we can end up holding this a long time, betting on a deviation coming. Do you want to bet on a deviation coming? It could. We could luck up. Wouldn't recommend it. So how do we make money with silver? Well, we know it's underpriced when it goes below $15.50. The further it goes below that, the bigger buy it is, the better it's on sale, because historically we know it's going to return to the trend line of the inflation of the US dollar. It's in the deviations we can make our profit. That's very, very important. If we just buy, like the pumpers tell us, buy silver, you can't go wrong, they're running out of silver, and hold it, it's going to the moon, it's going to go to the moon by December, and it's all based on wild ass guesses. They're wrong many, many, many more times than they're right. I'm going back historically doing measurements and thinking, okay, it's held true all these years. I have nothing to indicate that it's not going to hold true in the future. Now, another argument that you may hear, okay, the dollar's going to collapse. The dollar's going to lose a lot of value. Yes, but if we're buying for investment purposes, we may see, if the dollar tanked, a huge increase, but all we're doing is holding our economic buying power, and then we're going to pay taxes on that. When silver goes above $16.50, don't let anybody tell you it's an investment right now. It is not. Good way to lock up some capital to defend against inflation. Great for prepping, but this price it is today, it is not an investment. So I'm not an anti-pumper or anti-silver. I'm not a pro-silver, but wait till it becomes an investment. And that's going to be the subject of the next video, is how can we make sure when it drops below our target market or our target price that we don't get hung out on a limb, because we're still not done. It still gets a little bit more complicated. Silver's not a magic bullet for investing. It can be a great investment when it's on sale. It can be a horrible investment bought when it's supposed to be. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer. What is something worth? Something is worth what somebody is willing to give you for it. But silver has an auction market, and so the value is somewhat objective. I know this video is going to get some comments, going to get some negatives, but it's the truth, folks. I'm I can lie to you, I can make up stuff and probably get better ratings, but this is the truth. And next video, subscribe if you haven't. We're going to take this information and the information on the prior videos, put everything together on how we can make money with silver. Then we're going to move into blowing up pumper myths. And there's a lot of pumper myths out there. There's a lot of arguments that come back. I hear like the house in the 1950s, 500 ounces. Yes, that is correct, but are we comparing apples to apples? So I'm looking forward to the next group of videos we do, which is dispelling pumper myths. Comment. If you disagree, tell me why. If you agree, say why. Let's get a community discussion going on this issue. The community discussion is what makes this channel. Subscribe if you haven't. My email is stsilverstacker@gmail.com. God bless you. Thank you for watching.